"We are investigating that now. But even if we never find your accomplice, we have proof that you were implicated, and that is enough." "But what proof do you have?" Drake said blandly. "Why, the necklace itself, of course." The prosecutor looked as though he suspected Drake of having taken leave of his senses. Drake shook his head. "That necklace is mine. I can prove it. It was made for me by a respectable jeweler on Celadon 2. It's a very good imitation, but it's a phony. They aren't diamonds. They are simply well-cut crystals of titanium dioxide. Check them if you don't believe me." The Lord Prosecutor looked dumbfounded. "But what? Why?" Drake said, "I brought it to give to my good friend, the noble Belgazad. Of course it would be a gross insult to wear them at the Shan's coronation, but he could wear them at other functions. And how does my good friend repay me? By having me arrested. My Lord Prosecutor, I am a wronged man." The prosecutor swallowed heavily and stood up. "The necklace has, naturally, been impounded by the police. I shall have the stones tested." "You'll find they're phonies," Drake said, "and that means one of two things. Either they are not the ones stolen from Belgazad, or Belgazad has mortally insulted his Shan by wearing false jewels to the coronation." "Well, we shall see about this," said the Lord Prosecutor. Anson Drake, free as a lark, was packing his clothes in his hotel room when the announcer chimed. He punched the TV pickup and grinned. It was the girl. When the door slid aside, she came in smiling. "You got away with it, Drake. Wonderful. I don't know how you did it, but—" "Did what?" Drake looked innocent. "Get away with the necklace, of course. I don't know how it happened that Dabajel was here, but, Drake said, smiling. "You don't seem to know very much at all, do you?" What do you mean?" Drake put his last article of clothing in his suitcase and snapped it shut. "I'll probably be searched pretty thoroughly when I get to their spaceport," he said coolly. "But they won't find anything on an innocent man." "Where is the necklace?" she asked in a throaty voice. Drake pretended not to hear her. "It's a funny thing," he said. "Old Belgazad would never let the necklace out of his hands except to get me. He thought he'd get it back by making sure I was followed. But he made two mistakes." The girl put her arms around his neck. "His mistakes don't matter as long as we have the necklace, do they?" Anson Drake was never a man to turn down an invitation like that. He held her in his arms and kissed her, long and lingeringly. When he broke away, he went on as though nothing had happened. "Two mistakes. The first was thinking up such an obviously silly plot. If it was as easy to steal jewels from the palace as all that, nothing would be safe on Thizar. The second mistake was sending his daughter to trap me." The girl gasped and stepped back. "It was very foolish of you, Miss Belgazad," he went on calmly. "You see, I happen to know the real Normanite was sentenced to 7 years in Celadon prison over a week ago. Unfortunately, the news hadn't reached Thizar yet. I knew from the first the whole thing was to be a frame-up. It's too bad your father had to use the real necklace. It's a shame he lost it." The girl's eyes blazed. You thief! You—" She used words which no self-respecting lady is supposed to use. Drake waited until she was finished and then said, "Oh no, Miss Belgazad, I'm no thief. Your father can consider the loss of that necklace as a fine for running narcotics. And you can tell him that if I catch him again, it will be worse. I don't like his kind of slime, and I'll do my best to get rid of them. That's all, Miss B. It was nice knowing you." He walked out of the room, leaving her to stand there in helpless fury. His phony necklace had come in handy after all. The police had thought they had the real one, so they never bothered to check the galactic mail service for a small package mailed to Celadon 2. All he had to do was drop it into the mail chute from his room, and then cool his heels in jail while the galactic mails got rid of the loot for him. The necklace Valgol would be waiting for him when he got to Celadon 2. End of Heist Job on Thizar by Randall Garrett.